Hi, this is Mr. West, and you are watching a tutorial video for graphing inequalities. This is from mathdrills.com. Make sure to check out Math Drills in the link below. They have amazing math resources. Now, before we begin, we need to talk about these inequality signs and what they're going to mean. Well, we have this one. This is a less than or equal to sign. You can see that it's a combination between this one and an equal sign, and when you add them together, you get that. So it means that it can be less than or equal to. That's a less than or equal to sign. And then the other one is a greater than or equal to sign. And down here is just less than, and this one's greater than. What do those mean? So, for example, if we have this inequality shown, it's kind of like the alligator mouth. I don't know if you guys remember this. If you have like an alligator, it always wants to eat the bigger inequality. So if we had something like this, it wants to eat the bigger number. So this is a true statement. That's good. Okay. So 4 is bigger than 2. That works. But what about something like 2 is less than or equal to 2? Does that work? And it does. And the reason why it works is because 2 is equal to 2. No, it's not less than, but we already know that this is a less than or equal to symbol. Now the same is not true when we're talking about just less than. So the same rule would apply if we have 2 is less than 4. That's good. That works. But if we say that 2 is it less than 2, because it doesn't have that or equal to, this is not a true statement. That is wrong. So that's the difference between these two symbols. And how we differentiate that on a graph is from a closed circle, which means it can include that number, and an open circle, which means it cannot include that number. So I just want to give a background on that before we start. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. Number 1 says x is less than 1, not less than or equal to. So we're going to start and we're going to make just a circle on the number 1. Okay, that's a critical value here is telling us, and then we're going to base our graph off of that. So we know it's an open circle because this symbol means open circle. It cannot include 1. 1 is not part of the solution set. Now, what are the other symbols that we should, or sorry, what direction should we graph our inequality here? Should we go to the right, to the left? What do we do? One of my biggest pet peeves is when teachers say, oh, if it's facing to the left, that means you just graph it to the left. It does in this case, but you have to be careful with that because sometimes it might be drawn like this, and then you might accidentally graph it to the right, and that's not true. You're not going to graph it to the right. So because it can be expressed like this, this can be confusing. The best way to handle this situation is to think about what values make the inequality true. So because it looks like this or that, okay, you have to be careful. And you could plug it into either one. It's still going to make a true statement. So let's just test some values here. Okay, and I'm just going to roll with this one for now, okay? I know I wrote it a second way. That's just so you shouldn't just go off blanket statements and memorizing, oh, left or right, okay? Be careful with that. So if I test the number 2, for example, that's to the right of my circle, okay? 2, is it less than 1? Well, no, it's not less than 1. So I know this number, 2, and all of these numbers are going to be excluded. I'm not going to graph in that direction, so I'm just going to erase that, okay? So that was a waste of time. Let's check a number to the left of 1. How about 0? Is 0 less than 1? Well, of course it is. 0 is less than 1. So I know this is going to be included in the solution set. This one's going to be included. This one, this one, this one. There's all these numbers. There's an infinite number of solutions to this problem, but they're all to the left. Let me change the color of the number 1. Okay, we started off with the number 1. And they're all going to be to the left. Now, some teachers ask, and I mean, this is just kind of preference. Some teachers like that you graph it like this, okay, above the number line. I personally like it on the number line and just making it nice and thick, okay, but it's up to you, okay? Just make sure you talk to your teacher, okay? I like just, it looks a little messy, but I like putting it right on the number line, okay? And it's an open dot, and the reason why it's an open dot is because 1 can't be included, okay? 0.99 would be included, so we get very close to 1, but not 1 itself. 1 is not less than 1. So that's how we do it, okay? So let's test another one. Number 2, this is a good one. Okay, so instead of being, oh, it's opening to the right, that means I graph up, or whatever it is, okay? I like to just think, okay, what values can I put in here to make that a true statement. Before I do, though, I know I'm going to have a -6 on there. So I'm going to start with 6. Is it open or closed? Because it's a greater than or equal to sign right here, I know it's going to be a closed dot. That means 6 can be included. 6 is part of the solution. -6. Is -6 greater than -6? It's not, but it's equal to it. So -6 is greater than or equal to, the or part being critical, -6. So that's part of the solution set. Now I'm going to test values to the left and right. Well, to the left here, I can try -10 even. It doesn't have to be -7. Is -10 greater than -6? No, it's not. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Time out. 10 is bigger than 6. Yes, -10 is bigger than, no, it is not. And the reason why you want to think of it that way is if we have a thermometer. That's a pretty bad thermometer. Let me just make it a rectangle. If we have a thermometer, that one's not much better, but we're just going to proceed. If we have -10 degrees, it is definitely going to be colder than -6. Warmer equals a bigger number, and colder equals a smaller number, okay? So that's something to keep in mind if you think about temperature. So 0, you think 0 is less than -10. It's not. 0 is bigger than -10 because of temperature. Okay, so -10 is not part of our solution set. So I'm not going to be graphing to the left. Okay, and also think of it this way. Well, actually, let me finish this out first. I could put in 0. 0 is bigger than -6. Okay, 0 is greater than or equal to -6. So I know I'm going to go this way towards the 0. Okay, so there was 0. I know all these other values starting at -6 are going to be bigger. So I can go all the way this way. It's very important you go all the way down to the end of the line and then make your arrow to signify that it's going to be a lot of values after that. I know it looks a little sloppy. There's my arrow in this one. But the main thing is understanding the values. Okay, now, what's a quicker way to do it? You're like, oh my gosh, testing all those points, that could be a little annoying. Think of it this way. You're going to start at your number, so let's start with number 3. So number 3, the critical value is number 4, right? And it's less than or greater than or equal to, so I'm going to fill in the dot. Now, with this one, you want to think, okay, what are the values greater? If we have values that we're thinking of greater than 4, that means we're going to the right, okay? So right is greater than, okay? And then less is to the left. So any values that are less than that number go to the left, greater to the right. And we're going to read this as x is greater than or equal to 4. So we want all the values that are bigger than 4. Okay, and that's how I do it. I just look at that. I don't actually test points each time. You can if you're trying to get started and you're not following the other way, but that's how I do it, the way I just described. So let's jump down to number 5. I know I skipped 4. You can ask a question in the comment section if you really need that one. I'm going to start with 1. That's a critical value. And then I'm going to say, okay, this is x is less than those values. So what's smaller than 1? Well, smaller or less is to the left. So I'm just going to take this arrow and look at that. That's pretty cool, huh? I'll put it down at the end and then fill in the gaps here like this. To the left of 1. And I'm done, okay? So that's all there's to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a comment if you need more help with this. Make sure to check out other math drills tutorial videos that I have on this channel. Search up any topic you need. And I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Wes Explains Best.